Look who's in the house. Oops, that's way. Look who's in the house. It's our first feedback loop. Welcome, welcome. CAD, Jan's here, Becky's here, Kim. Hi, Kim, how are you? She just joined the membership. You rock, Debbie. Debbie's here. Yay! So, I know. I'm so excited. AD and I were talking about what we wanted to do with this, and we are on the same page. I'm so excited. We've got some amazing images and some really good information. So AD and I are going to dive into that. We were talking, since it's the first show, AD, I think we should tell them kind of like what this is about. So, some of them do, some of them do. What? What? You can hear me though, right? Can you guys hear me? No volume for AD.
You know why? It's because I never have volume, because I'm supposed to be the absolute silent one on there all the time. Anyways, let's roll back a little bit. I was talking about the Arcanum and talking about how Janice and I met, and everybody kind of knows that story because we've told it before. But we kind of we hit a groove, and we kind of work well together, and we recognize that, and we've been working together ever since, and it's been awesome. And so I just said to Janice last week, as many of you may or may not know, Mike Howard is suffering from stage 4 cancer right now. And so I did a show with him called the Photo Review Show, where I would do critiques, just like what Janice does. Basically, we're all from the same seed, so to speak. We all handle our critiques the same way, so it's a very familiar system to me. But I felt that I was getting a little bit stale because I haven't been doing the show with Mike. Mike's trying to get treatment right now and trying to do better and all of that. So so I said to Janice, I said, hey man, what about come on and yell at people? How's that? And she's like, well, you can't yell at people. And I'm like, oh, all right. So, but she said, yeah, let's do this. Let's have a show where we do multiple critiques and we talk about creativity and how to let yourself go a little bit. And I said, yeah, I'm all in for that. And I need the practice. So, guys will have to bear with me. I'm probably going to be a little rusty. So, yeah, it's all good. Hey, Baz, how's it going? I see you out there, man.
Oh, Baz made it. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yay. So Baz, we're going to do yours first. I didn't know for sure if he was going to make it or not since it's so crazy. Gotcha. And Baz, I'll tell you one thing, me and AD, we're talking about thinking about changing the time frames for you European followers, or family, I should say, because you guys are hanging out with us all the time. So we were talking about that. So let's do real quick, AD. Let's do did you get my sponsor thing ready? Because
I sure hope it's the right one, Janice. I tried really hard to get the right one. I'm gonna press the button. I don't know what could happen, so we'll see. If you're ready, I'm ready.
All right, let's go.
Here we go.
Are you ready to set your photography goals? If you are, get ready and check out our membership program. Registration is going to be opening up soon, and this is a place where we start a 4-week course to get you going, and you'll see that there's a variety of things that you're going to do in this course, but that is only the beginning of us working together to move you forward. It's a great place to be in a community that really works hard and fun to push our creativity within ourselves in a safe environment. Check out the testimonials. You'll see that it's a wonderful group for people who really want to express themselves and be creative within a beginning stage all the way to a business stage. We have broken it up so each person can have their own specific stage to really work on their goal sets. It's a wonderful place for us all to hang out. Check out down below. I know that you'll love it.
Yay! Was that the one? That was the one.
Well, that was the long version, so I think I need to give you a new version.
Okay, you have a shorter version. All right, well.
I do. Because remember you're saying 30 seconds?
Yep.
So I have a 30-second version.
Okay.
But yes, thank you. I just wanted to say too, though, you guys, I just did this today, AD. I don't know if I told you, but because of all the crazy, Ashley and I decided to go ahead and do 1 month for $1, but you have to cancel towards the end. So I told my newsletter people, I said, look, you can come in here for $1 and just work, because I know how crazy it is around the house.
Yeah. And
then just cancel if you don't, if financially you can't do it, I don't want you there anyways. So
that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. It's just crazy. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to, this way, you guys this is first, and what we'll do is I'm going to talk to you guys real quick about how to submit, and then AD and I are going to dive in, because it's really all about feedback loop. So we were also talking about an easy way that we might be able to get, we're on my website, and maybe AD will have it on his or something like that, where we can have you guys drop in the files. But right now, what you could do is, I do have a link, and you have to give us an actual form. You fill out a form, a Google Doc, and basically it tells you that you can submit 3 images for the feedback loop. And then what you'll do is but you still have to give us information. AD and I need to know, like, your goal. Give us, the more information you give to us, the better, just because then we know where you're going with it and how you shot it and all that stuff.
Yeah, we'll talk about that too tonight. I did go through the show notes, and there is some good discussion in there, which is going to help us, I think, understand that a little bit better too.
Yeah, good. And then another thing that I don't really see anybody else doing, which I really want to do, especially since a lot of you guys know that I'm an art major, is that we are also offering for those of you that have a portfolio, because sometimes when you do your work, if it's just singled out, it doesn't make a statement compared to an actual portfolio. So you guys can submit up to 10 images, but with this, there has to be a little mini artist statement. And what we're going to do, AD and I will talk about the portfolio as a piece, not an individual image. Maybe if we see something that maybe can improve the portfolio, an individual piece, that might happen. But this is something different, and I really, really would love for you guys to think about that, because this is where you start getting into your own creative zone. So that is something that we're offering here on the feedback loop. So then what I say is that we need to right-click on the image. Of course, if you send something now with a link for a Dropbox or something that we can see a larger image, it's better. But if you can't, it's okay. This is a laid back. It's not crazy. So don't worry about it. Just send your work so me and AD can work with you. Another thing that I feel that is really, really cool that me and AD are going to do is we'll talk about your work, but this is really about not so much about the individual. It is about the individual piece, but we're thinking a little bit broader, where we could give you homework. I would love for you to think about what we're saying, try different things. You may not like what we say. That's okay. Just try it. If you don't like it, toss it. If you like it, go for it. It may lead you on to new things, but we are planning to give you guys homework, and I would love for you guys to join the Facebook group and share what you've done. And who knows, maybe me and AD will actually show a before and after or something in the feedback show that we have for you guys. So that's basically it, unless I missed something. AD, did I miss something? I don't know.
No, I don't think so. I think that that pretty much sums it up quite well. I basically want to see everybody get out of this show similar to what we did on the photo review show, which was come into it with an open mind, know that we're not saying things to try to develop you into anything that we don't believe you want to be. That's why we ask for what your goals are on the image, what you're trying to achieve with the image, so we can better understand and get inside your mind and kind of understand what you're going for. Because a lot of people have a vision of what they want and they want to get there, but they're blocked on something that can't get them to that point. And so what we're basically trying to do is remove those roadblocks for you. We're not trying to say, you can't take a picture like that. You can't do this. That won't be what we're talking about here. What we're trying to say is try this, try that. See if you come up with new ideas, some things to further your creativity or to get you to that point that you currently have a block on. Remember, it isn't about submitting your best photos to this, by the way. And in the portfolio section, if we do a portfolio review, yes, then your best images, your artist statement is what we want to see. But if you're just submitting photos to kind of get new ideas and whatnot, don't feel that you have to submit your best photos. You can submit photos that you're having trouble with. Maybe you took one and you're on the fence and you're like, I don't know, is this a good photo? I like it, but I don't know, I don't know what the community feels. So make sure that you know that they don't have to be your best images. Failure is an option, and it is a great way to learn. And it is like the way that I learned a lot of the things that I've done is to fail, and to fail publicly. I mean, it's just, that's how it goes. And, get up, brush myself off, laugh at it, and be like, yep, I'm not going to run into that wall again. I got a wall over there I can run into. So that's basically the philosophy, I think, behind what we're doing here. And I think you guys already all know that. So yeah.
So I'm looking at the chat, and I this person, of course, look at my ego's getting all happy. I don't know who that person is. Janice is the best. Thank you.
Very nice.
And then Barry says, Janice, where's your little glass of wine? Uh-oh. No wine today. No wine today, but maybe another time for sure.
Right.
I like my wine. And then, yes, Barry, Baz, we have Baz today, and we've got we have 3 other people that that submitted. So thank you to all of you that submit. And please remember that this is all about feedback. So you got to send your work. We got to have a great chat. I want you guys in the chat to also help when we're talking. Throw out ideas. It's so cool. The last show was so amazing. You guys were throwing out a whole bunch of stuff. It was so cool. I always go over the chat after the show and just to see what everybody's done. And
I'm always amazed at your community and their output and their genuine feelings towards each other. It's great. It's always nice to see. I did want to say thank you, Jan, very much for the well wishes. I hope everybody's doing great in your family as well. So.
Yeah. This is a tough year for everyone. We all have our little. That's why I'm so happy to have you guys. You make me laugh, and it's so nice to be with AD. It's just a great thing, and so I'm glad that we all have each other for sure, because we are definitely tight knit here. So if any of you guys are new to the show, come on over and say hi and chat it up with us. You will get to meet some amazing people that love to photograph up close. So it's close up, macro, and micro photography on this show. So let's get on. And I think what I'll do is I'll go ahead and read Baz's. We'll talk about Baz first. Is that okay, AD?
Sure.
I got that one going.
Yep.
So let me read his information, and then we'll just go with the flow on who's next. I think, we'll just go there. So let's go ahead. So Baz, what he has said is, here's some pics if you would like to use them. Of course, I love it. Are you kidding me? I done, let's see. So has not done much on focus stacking. So these have some focus stacking in them. So he's trying to mimic someone who achieves water droplets on a dandelion we will see. And we will see his dandelion today. And then also he uses, let me just tell you what he uses. He has, his camera is a D5300, his Sigma 105 macro lens. It's a 2.8 macro. He uses a tripod, a remote shutter release control. He has a small light box. And then for a background, then he also, let's see, in the dandelion, he says, you'll have to tell me if this is right. There's a clock or something in there. You'll have to tell me, Baz, because I might be getting that wrong. The water drop, he had to do, so you were going to show one that has dandelion seeds, just the seeds, which is amazing because they're so teeny weeny. And he uses a lot of patience and a dropper to get that going. And then he has the chocolate eggs in the background. So what he's doing is stacking 9 shots to get it in focus. Oh. One thing that I really loved is we're going to see a bubble photograph from him. I've never done this before, and I would love to try it. And that bubble, it's a flower, and he used 6 shots to get it stacked so it's in focus. So what we're going to look now is, go ahead and share the screen, AD, and then Baz is here, which is absolutely amazing. I love that. So let's see if, while you're looking at that, let's see, 2 suggestions. Barry says, other than the Facebook, where would you, okay, other than Facebook. That's okay. Don't worry about to publicize. Oh, look, to publicize what we as individuals think is a great photo.
Yeah, I think he's asking about like where would you post your photos? Yeah, I think that's what you're asking, Barry, is where would you put your photos if you wanted to get them seen? If you had a good photo you really liked and you wanted to show it off, is that the question? I want to make sure that I answer.
Yeah, let us know if that's it.
Yep.
So far,
correct,
good. Oh, there you go. Okay. Yeah. Well, you go ahead, and then I'll answer him too, because I have ideas for that.
So Barry, online is a wonderful thing. In these times, pretty much, that's the only thing right now, unfortunately. But as things turn around, as things get better, and they will get better, I would highly suggest that you go around to your local coffee shops, your local bookstores, even if you have them, or bookstore coffee shops, that sort of thing, and find out if you can hang some of your original work at those places. Never underestimate getting your photos printed and put in front of real eyes, even if it's just in your little hometown, wherever you might live, and you don't have to spread them everywhere, but at least getting that up there and putting a little card up there with maybe your website, or where you feature your photos for sale online, or if you just feature them online and you want to just show them to people. But there's many websites that you can do. There's Flickr, there's 500px, there's all millions of websites. I would probably say there's 2 lines of thought there. You can post them everywhere on all of them. I mean, just, make sure they're everywhere. Or you can pick one website and just focus on that. The only problem with focusing on one website is they change, and things change and can make it hard for you to stay with them. Flickr was one of those people for me that changed their price to what I felt was a ridiculous price when SmugMug bought them out. So, I still post things there, but not as much. Now I post a link on Twitter and my website. I try to focus everything, and this has always been my philosophy of website first, and then, because I own that and it's not going anywhere. So
that's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
That's exactly where I was going to go. So one of the things that I always pressure, and everybody knows in the membership, that I always tell them, it's always good for you to have your own website first, and then you share with the social media platforms that I actually really feel that are good. It depends on who you like to hang out with. So if you put all your eggs in one basket, like AD was just saying, Google Plus was gone, poof. Facebook could change, poof. But what's good is you get to meet, where do you want to meet people? So, everybody was getting into the Instagram thing. I'll tell you one thing, I'm not an Instagram person. So somebody takes my images, puts it on Instagram, and then if they comment, I'm there. That's as far as it goes for me, just to get to meet people. So I would think of you, where do you like to hang out with? Who do you like to hang out with? Type of people. Think about that, and then dribble your images off to other social platforms gently. Don't just take all of your life on social media, right. For sure. Yeah, but so I totally agree. Website. And once you start doing that and you start getting friends, I always suggest a free email, because that's how I connect with all of my, I have an email list that I connect with these people, and I tell them behind the scenes before anything else, just to talk to them directly. So that's another thing too. So that's a great one.
Very cool.
Yeah, so very good. Me, no Instagram.
Right. Well, Barry's next question is, do you deem this shot a quality shot? And that's what we're here to talk about.
Okay, great. Yeah, let's go for it. Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first, or?
Why don't you go first, Janice, and then I'll go after you.
Okay, great. So I know what you're doing, Barry. You're a Baz. I keep going back and forth. So you're working on the drops, and you're working on the drops to really hone in. And he's been working really, really hard. For those of you that don't know, and he's doing a great job. So when you first started doing these drops, I see the difference just from the last show, Baz, that you're getting rid of all of the actual those highlights, that he was hitting. So he's paying attention now to now. So there's more. So now we're going to just push you even farther. So I would suggest on this one. So let me go here, because this is what it's all about. This is what we're visual people. So I just want to show you something. So this is great, right? The inside, there's two things that I would like for you to play with, and I think that this would be like on it. So the first thing is, as I'm looking here, we'll get even closer, because this was a small, I had to right click on this one. So let's go in. I don't want to go 4:1. We'll go like 2:1. And see, Baz, see the little side in here? That's from the stacks. I'm almost positive, because I stack everything that I do. And so what I would do is clone some of this out, like I shared before. You might even be able to do it. I'll just show something in here. Just get rid of some of this in here. And as you can see, Lightroom doesn't do very well, but I just want you to see that with this line out, just as a macro photographer, that would be something for you to see and pay attention to. Now, I want to ask Baz, are you using Photoshop, or what are you using? Let me know in the chat. Hi, Rose. Nice to see you. I think you're a newbie. Tell us where you're at. It's nice to meet you. Welcome to the Macro Chat Live Show and our feedback loop. So that's one thing that I would suggest. The other thing that I'd like to suggest, one thing, and then I'll let AD get to it. So let me get out of there. Close. And the next thing that I would suggest is, when it comes to this is what I do. When it comes to the drops, you've gotten that down. We can't see what's behind it, but that's okay. It's not too bad. You know what I mean? I know if your goal is to get this area right in here in focus, it didn't happen, but it's still a cool shot. But what I want to share with you is that maybe adding, and I think you should do this with all of your drops. So if you can bump up some contrast, let's see. Lightroom is just like blah. Let's see. Let me see some texture. I want to show the difference. Let's see clarity. Okay. So let's do, the reason why, let me go back, is because you want this really prominent. So let's go to fit and let's go off. And let's see if I could do the before and after. So let's do the before. And just look at this area right in here. And I'm going to tell you why. We'll do it with some of the other ones. So there's the before and there's the after. And I would actually even bring it in more. The reason why I'm saying that is because you want that to pop more than anything else in the frame, because that is your hero. That is your main subject. I know it because you've been working on it. So that's what you've been trying to focus on, and you're doing a great job. I'm telling you, it's just so different compared to the last images that you shared. So go ahead. Do you have anything on this one, AD, before we go on to the next one?
Yeah, I'll try to make it kind of quick. I see that Baz is saying that he's just using a standard Android app and no PS and no Lightroom. That's incredible, dude. So
wow,
nice
really?
Nice work with
Good
that.
job.
So I think that what you're probably seeing around the edges there is probably the bokeh from the camera app that generally makes up that bokeh because it isn't really there. And so that's, you're kind of between a rock and a hard place there, Baz, because this is one of those things where, the app is only going to do just so much, right? And it's not gonna give you that clarity. I think probably the existential crisis that you're probably running into at this point is that this is going to take the big camera in order to pull it off. You're going to need to use a DSLR and do some stacking. Just some suggestions for this image though, beyond all of that, because you're working with a certain set of tools, and I'm a firm believer that you can get it done with the tools that you have. I've always felt like, even, when I was mixing bands, I used a cheap pair of speakers, but I learned how those speakers worked, and I could control them to the point where I could get a good mix out of them that was true to the room and whatnot, because I learned that tool. So, if you learn the tools and what you can get out of them, and push them to the limits, I think you'll have, a better result that way. So always be thinking in that mindset when you're using your phone or whatever you're deciding to work on your photos with. With this particular image, I think that there's a lot of imbalance in the negative space. So you have a beautiful subject, and I want to get closer to your subject. I would probably rotate this clockwise about 10 degrees or so. And Janice, if you could bring that down into more of a portrait crop rather than a landscape crop, or move it. You got it kind of into the thirds a little bit. I think what I'm suggesting, Baz, is play around with the crops and the turning like this a little bit, and step back from the image for a day or a few hours, and then come back and look at it again and see if you don't feel that the image has more of a draw or more power to you. That's the key to deciding whether or not this image is ready to put it out in front of the public. You'll know. It's really weird, but a bell will go off and you'll be like, yeah, this is working for me. I could look at this image all day long. And when you get that kind of, bell goes off in your head, then you're on the right track. And it doesn't come instantly. You got to do it with a lot of photos. You got to, it's practice like anything. But I think here I see this like nice loop that you have on the left, and then the loop around the water droplet itself. I think that natural S curve is something that you can use in your composition. And your subject here really is that curve and the water droplet, and not so much the background. So that's why I'm suggesting maybe a little less negative in there and a little bit closer into that tiny micro world that you captured so well on your phone. I mean, that blows my mind.
I can't believe it.
Right? That's great.
I can't believe it. That is so cool.
Absolutely cool.
Yeah, I didn't even realize you could do that. You know what you could do on your phone that I found out, and that's just recent, is that you can shoot. Now, I know he doesn't have Lightroom, but if you have the Lightroom app, that Lightroom app will automatically make this a RAW and not a JPEG, which is
and it's
awesome.
Free. Yeah, I think the Lightroom app is free. You can't use the CC options to get it to your desktop, but you can still use it on your phone. So
yeah. So
you shot this on the he shot this on the Nikon D5300, and then you edited it on, and you did edit it on an Android app. Is that correct, Barry?
Oh, I see. That's probably what, because he doesn't have Photoshop or Lightroom.
Gotcha. No, that's cool. I mean, so
Yeah.
there's something else, guys. That's something to learn from what Baz is doing here. Is you can do this now. You can actually edit. You can edit in RAW on your phone, and you can upload those to your phone and edit through the cloud, or you can get a little device that reads your card, and it'll read it right into your phone or tablet or whatever. Even if you just have a tablet that you're editing on. So that's awesome, man. Yeah. And I would like to know more. I think homework for you, Baz, is I want to know more about the process of what you're doing. I'm a tech guy, so I love like learning like what people are doing and how to, kind of lighten my load a little bit. I don't want to carry a desktop around with me everywhere I go. I would love to know more about that. Definitely.
I think he's probably doing it. This is why I went to this one, because he's probably doing the same type of thing on this, right, Baz? Yep, only contrast and or light. That's it.
Cool.
Oh, okay. See, I have now these are the ones that I was telling you that he did the night. So you could see the flower in here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And these are the little dandelions. Wow, that's just crazy to me.
And I really like this one a lot. I thought really my only critique on this was there's a little light leak down in the lower right corner that kind of draws my eye a little bit. And there's a little bit of detritus I would probably clean up a little bit to make this like a super clean image. There's a few dots in there, look like a little pollen or whatever. I'd probably clean those up. Other than that, the composition here of the three together. Now, what I would like to know is, Baz, did you stage this shot? Were you able to move these things around a little bit? Because if you are able to do that when you're setting it up, my suggestion would be to, instead of having them in a straight line, maybe stagger them a little bit. Because the number 3, having 3 subjects is perfect. You got that down. Awesome. But my suggestion would be to maybe not put them in a line straight across, maybe give them a little bit of a trailing away, or a little bit of an S, the middle one lower than the other 2, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But this is perfect. I mean, he's getting on to something now.
Well, yeah, look at this is great, because Baz, did you clean them up? Because look, he only has a little bit now. I would I would even clean that up, Baz, if you could. That white area, I know it's hard to see with. The parts that draws my eyes is the little black specks that are here and there. Oh, the little black ones.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this is a very soft image, right? I mean, it's not soft as it isn't sharp. I mean, it's a very soft, like comfortable image. And when you have that, the little dots and specks on there, they're kind of like they're noise in your comfort level. So anytime you have, noise is representative to us as, contrast in lots of it, in noise, things moving around. And so by removing those, my eye isn't like so drawn to those little dots. That's
just these ones. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so that keeps my eye from bouncing so much and just kind of just drawing me into the image. I'm looking at every time I go to look at like the flower, I see the dot above the flower, right? In the middle one. Right. So
that just takes you to the next level, Baz. So next time.
Yep.
What does it say? Staging. Look at it. I mean, yeah. And that just takes you to the next level, because it's like you already have the composition, you already have the colors, you've got everything. It's just taking it to the next level of, you would be surprised too on those little teeny little things, how much it stops, But I did do what I always do, Baz. So here's the before. Look at your little flowers. And here's the after. And the only reason why I like this is just a personal thing, is because it pulls me into the images.
A little bit of contrast.
A little bit of contrast. Yeah, little pop. And then here is his last one, AD, which is so cool. How cool
the bubble.
Is that? How'd you do that? I mean, I don't even know how you would do
Glycerin and soap, or?
Wow.
That's very cool. I like that a lot. The thing with this one is, I think I just want to be closer into this bubble a little bit, maybe, I don't know. What do you think, Janice? What's your
okay.
thoughts?
I saw this and yeah, this is what I saw. Okay, so there's me being a little anal right there. Okay, I know, it's really bad, but I love this. So let me show you something, Baz. This is what I love. Let me see something.
And what Janice is doing right now, Baz, is she just added symmetry to your image, which
Yes.
it was a little off sides, and so we have a saying: there's a symmetry, there's either symmetry or there isn't. So you have to be really like upfront with people with that, because if it's just slightly off, it disturbs people, which is a weird thing. And if you're going, I don't think you're going for that with your flower. If you're going for a disturbing image, then that's another thing. It's a whole nother discussion. But yeah, adding so if you're close on symmetry, you can't be close. You got to be right on. So what she's doing right now is just she's cropping it, turning it, and adding symmetry, taking a little bit of the background out of the image, which is distracting, and really making the bubble in the flower, which is really your star here, pop. And I think you'll see quite a difference here when she's done.
Yeah, let's see if I'll go back to the beginning. See, I like to sometimes move things farther away instead of so much in my face. I like to go back and forth. So here's, I love it. I just love it. And then just cropping this, I also darkened.
Yep.
I did the blacks. You know why, Baz, is because for me, I really want to see that flower. We'll bring that back up.
Well, and the red was not lending to his subject, so his colors are kind of in the warm tones, and you're taking the reds out of there, which are kind of like the reds are a very like bold, strong, kind of like look at me color. Red is a very dominant color. So if it isn't in your subject, sometimes you want to consider getting it out of there. So. It doesn't distract.
It's so cool.
And Baz says it was a first. It's a first.
It was?
That's awesome.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Very cool.
I just think that is so awesome. I love it. Baz, for my homework, AD has given you homework, but for my homework, I want to see more of this.
Right?
I think this is so cool.
That's great. Amazing for a first effort.
Yeah, I would love to see that falling off my chair. Okay, so now let's go ahead. So Baz, let us know if you have any questions. We're going to dive into, let's see, I think we're going to dive into Catherine's now. Let me get Catherine's. Hers is up here. And let me just tab out of this. And not development. Okay, so let me just dive into Catherine's. She says that this is a Bradford pear blossom taken with a lens baby velvet 56. I'm sorry.
Yes, my favorite lens.
I know, so pretty. The aperture was probably around f4. I wanted to create a high key look with some softness. The ISO was 400 and the shutter speed was 1/500th of a second, and she was hand holding.
Achieved.
Yeah,
Achieved.
Isn't that beautiful?
If the goal was a soft image with high key and flowers, you nailed it. I mean,
yeah. And so the thing that I would like Catherine to do is I would love for her to start thinking about some kind of portfolio with this high key, because Catherine does some beautiful black and whites, but I haven't seen too many of these from her. And so
Jan A hits it. It's a delicate look. So think delicate and run with that for a portfolio. Definitely. Yes.
Wouldn't that be just beautiful? So that's the homework for her. So Catherine, please think about this and what you've done. And I would love for you to create more of these and share with us in the Facebook group. Like just do like a couple of them. And I would like to definitely see more of these. This is absolutely gorgeous. And it's perfect.
Yeah, she's onto something here with, this is like when people submit things and you can tell that they're onto something that works. What I like is you can always tell when somebody's like in the zone when they're doing something, because it shows like almost immediately that they're in that zone. So hopefully she can stay in it, and we'd definitely yeah, homework there is just more. Let's see more.
Right, right. I mean, I'm going to tell you too, the reason, like for me, it has the balance. It has the green soft, like she's left this soft, but yet not soft where it is in focus.
That's right.
And as you're going off to the side and lifting off, it's getting brighter and brighter and less focus. And it's just like flowing, and and it is flowing off into Neverland, and it's just a very comforting image. And this piece would go so well in so many homes. I'm telling you right now.
The world needs a lot more images like this right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Calming.
Okay. Yes. Okay, so let's go on to Debbie, and then Kim, we will take you next. So let's go on to Debbie.
Yes,
And
Barry, I think everybody else is commenting here and there. Yep, I see other people. I'm not sure why you don't see them. It's
yeah, because Debbie's here. She says you will enjoy it. And Catherine says, thanks to both of you. I would enjoy making more images like this. Yay!
We would enjoy it too.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show the image. What I like about this is that she's given us some details. She's really telling a story here. Debbie is very good with this. I want her to start her blog post because I would read it every single time she posts. She's just really good. So this is the after, but let me just read this to you. It is really nice. And what I like is that she showed us before what the two pieces that she used to do this. So I was really excited about that. She goes, I'm sending you the 3 photos for the feedback loop segment. She goes, let me know if there's no issues. You're perfect. So here's the information and the story. The photos actually go together as one final image, which all of you guys will see in a second. One is a straight out of camera photo. Maybe I'll show that while we're talking about that. Why don't I do that so then everybody can see that? So this is the one that she's talking that is straight out of camera. She says, and then one is the texture that I use as the background. This one right here, the texture. And then she says this one is the one that she has the final image. She says, I was inspired to create this photo in light of everything going on in the world right now with the virus. Since my local florist has to be closed, they are giving away free flowers when they cut them for the greenhouse that they have on their property. I saw their post on Instagram last week and dove down to the shop, which was closed. But there was freesia flowers, I always butcher flower names, outside in the bucket, and the sign said free. I took a bunch, which really lifted my spirits, knowing that I would have some flowers to photograph and play with. I carefully studied them, trying to find a flower that I could connect with. When I saw these yellow freesias with the buds, it immediately made me think of my mother supporting and caring her children, or a person caring for and supporting a group of people, which is actually what is going on in the world right now. Your husband, she says, your husband, Janice, being one of those people. Thank you so much for that. That was very sweet, Debbie. It really warmed my heart. I used some window light in my house and a piece of green cardboard for the background. I photographed this with my Canon 5D3 Mark III using a Lens Baby Velvet 85 millimeter lens. She says, I'm thinking my f-stop was around 8. Unfortunately, the Lens Baby doesn't give you that information on your metadata.
Right. It's a manual.
I did.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Yep. I took several shots and I really liked this one. My ISO was at 400 with a shutter speed of 1/6 of a second. I had my camera on a tripod as usual, that she usually does most of the time. When I got into my computer, I knew that I was going to have to add something to the background. I made my local exposure adjustments in Lightroom, lowering the highlights and increasing the shadows. I searched for my texture library of photos and found one of some blurred bokeh that I had taken a while ago. I actually softened up the edges and did some blending with the colors in Photoshop before putting it on top of the flower. I added the texture on a normal blend mode and lowered the opacity, and then added a mask so that I could brush off the texture from the flowers and the stem, leaving it a bit of texture on the edges of the flower petal and the stem, so that it would blend into the background. Then I added a blank layer to add some more yellow on the upper left side of the with the clone stamp tool. After that, I added the texture layer again, but used the multiply mode to reduce the opacity, and again added a mask and brushed off any areas of the texture that I felt needed to be removed. Lastly, I added a level adjustment layer. I moved my slider a bit to the left to lighten up the entire photo, and then I added a black mask and used the white brush. She brushed areas of the flower and the buds that she felt needed a bit of, I was almost done. Oops, what a bit of lightening and brightening. I haven't quite nailed it down a title for this image, but I'm thinking something that she puts in quotations, we're all in this together, due to the circumstances we were in. I hope this description is amazing. She says she hopes it's thorough enough. She's awesome. What a great idea, though, huh, AD?
Yeah.
I'm like, wow. Wow. So I totally get what you're saying, and I love what you've done. And it feels like a family. It feels like it feels like definitely a group, and I love the colors and what you've done. So this is just personal opinions because I like everything that you've done. Develop module. This is the only thing that I would.
I knew right what you were going for.
Yeah, he knows me.
No. I just know. I know what I saw in the image too. The only thing that I saw in the image, but I do have a very important message for Debbie when you're done. So one of the things that I feel that the reason why I wanted to crop in a little bit is because I'm kind of doing like a little patrol of I always look at the negative space. Mm-hmm. And so it's really up to you. But I feel like when I'm paying attention to the negative space from here to here and from here to here, this is heavy here and it flows off. So I just feel like for me, just taking off a little bit off the sides gets me into the flower more instead of thinking so much about the negative space. I think it's cool the way she's gone off and she's left some of this color in here. But she added the color on the left, which I think is an important. I think it's an important mechanic in this image and what makes it successful, believe it or not. So. Yeah, I do too, because it's kind of leading into that. And I think that one thing with Debbie that I really enjoy in her work, and I always encourage her to keep doing this, is that when she does her flower work, what she does is she finds things that are very different. Like, see how the stem is down in here? Mm-hmm. This is a Debbie piece. So her works are always having a flower that is a little different. And I just has its own character. So when I see a flower that's perfect, I don't feel like it's a Debbie piece. But when she has something like this, it's a Debbie piece, because I always look to see what in this image is different from others. And that's what she does. I don't know if I've told you that about that, Debbie, so I don't know, but it really does push me into her work because I love that she finds little cracks. She finds a flower that leans crazy or does something different. So that's one thing that I really love. You go for it, because that's all I have to say. Okay. All right. Two things I have for you, Debbie. Let's talk about the image really quick. For me, the image is about a story. The story is the sun. There is brightness out there. There is the mother. It looks like a mother and a father and the kids. It looks like, look, we're in this together. There's sunshine at the end of we're going to get there. So your story is perfect. Let's talk about what you wrote. when I first read what you wrote, I'm like, okay, she's being way too technical. I don't need to know any of this kind of stuff. Let me at the
she
image.
knows I like it.
let me at the image. Wait, no, hold on, Janice. You're too quick to judge now. All right, we're gonna start shouting each other like our little.
We always do.
Right.
We're like husband and wife.
So I immediately I said to myself, well, she's. And I'm just being honest with you. I'm just gonna tell you exactly what my thought pattern was. I'm like, man, she's just telling me like too much about the image. But then I read the rest of it, and I understood then the story, and some things stuck out to me from that story that I want to share with you, and I want you to take this to heart, and this is going to be your homework from me. You won't need homework from Janice after I'm done with you. So just so you know, one, your writing on this was excellent. You need to start teaching people what you're doing. I want you to stream this stuff. I want you to show people, make videos. You need to start learning how to do that. You're one of us. Let's put it that way. So you need to get out there and show people your techniques. Yes, you're good enough. You can do this. I think this is an important next step for you to start thinking about. You don't need to come next week and be like, yes, I'm the latest person on lynda.com or whatever. All you need to do is start thinking about doing it yourself. The other thing is I really want you to take these images that you made, and I want you to either print them or get copies of them on a tablet or a laptop, and I want you to go back when the florist or the greenhouse, I want you to go back to them when it's open, okay? And I want you to show these images to the owner of the greenhouse. And the reason why is because they're going to be blown away at what you did with their giveaway, and you're not going to be able to build a stronger connection with your community and people there that you need to build a strong connection with that will lead to something else down the road. I promise you. You may not know what it is when you do it, but you will get a call. Somebody will get with you. I'm not John Edwardsing you right now. I'm just saying that this is in my life, my opportunities were created by doing these simple things like that, by making that connection with people and basically letting them know that I appreciated what they did for me. And I, just take them. Here's the thing, Debbie, it's awesome that you have them on Instagram and Facebook. Super. Print it and take them a print in a frame and give it to them. That little simple, like $10, it's going to cost you $10-15 to have it printed, and giving it to them is huge. I mean, you will not believe it. They'll tell their friends, they'll show it to everybody. It's a big step. But I really think that you should follow through with that if you can, when it's safe to do. I know it's right now, it's kind of, but seriously, that's my homework for you, is I think that you should start thinking about teaching others how to do this with a blog or video or streaming or whatever it takes. Janice and I and whoever we can help you with that. But I really think that you're at the point now where you have some valuable things to share with people, and you should be doing that with your voice. So that's all I got.
That's awesome, AD. Awesome. And you know what, too, is that with all this craziness, when they see this, because they had to close down, I mean, that is just so touching. And that's what I love that we could do for people. This is what we do. We do it for ourselves, but we could do it for others, too. So that's just perfect. I just love that. That was really good. Very good. Awesome. I can't even tell you enough, AD, how much I really like that right there. Okay, so let's go to Kim. Kim, we're going to rock on you now. Okay, so let me...
Poor Kim's like, oh no, here they come.
Okay, so what I have to do is I do need to find, she has written down I want to make sure that I have the right ones, because she went ahead. This one is, okay. So she has 3 images. Thank you so much. So what we're going to do is, let me say, she says, my goal for these 3 images is to provide a look at the various personality traits of a single flower. As I moved this flower around and really looked at it, I felt the flower showing me different parts of its personality. It was like a portrait photography session where you can see the different sides of the person. And I love that.
Yep.
I just love that. So this one right here, this one, I want to make sure I'm reading it correctly, the name of it. This one's Bashful. So Bashful Glimpse, she says, the angle of the flower in this image really spoke to me of a shyness. It felt like a flower would show me only the very few petals in focus in the front. Let me see. I felt like the flower would show me only the blah, blah, blah. Oh my gosh, you could tell it's getting towards the end of the show. Let me say this again.
You can do this, Janice.
I could do it. I could do it. It felt like the flower would show me only the very few petals in focus in the front, and the rest of the flower is a mystery and not yet ready to reveal itself. How cool is that? I mean, this is just so cool. So, yeah, I mean, do you want to dive in this one first? I keep diving into them first. You can dive into this one if you want. It's, you know, and
I
then
think so. The only thing that I've followed Kim's work and on the show and seen great strides being made. I like the texture to this image that surrounds the flower. I think if it were me, and I only offer up things that I envision in hopes that people will just try different things to see what sparks that makes them super happy. And if Kim is like, yep, I was done with this image, or if she's looking for some ideas, my idea was I think about what people write about their images. And this is why we asked people to write down your goals for your image. And she said that she felt that this image was like a portrait. So I see this in portrait mode with a lot of negative space up top and the flower at the bottom, right? With all of this beautiful green texture above it. And that kind of fills out the rest of her story. So when she said that, I immediately, my mind went, wow, I would love to see this flower in more of a portrait kind of look, rather than, you can't really do it because you don't have it would have to be reshot in the portrait
Let's
view.
just look at it anyways. I'm just curious. I just want to look at it portrait because you're saying that, and you know, it's always good to just see it. Let's just do it.
See, we're going to lose the beautiful part of, and see, I see where like the flower would be lower in the portrait part of the, you know, like almost down to the bottom with a lot of negative space up top, which means that when you looked at it, you would enjoy those greens and be pulled in, but you're really going to focus on the flower petals and whatnot. And
I kind of like that though. That looks cool.
It would have to be reshot or edited strongly. I could do an edit for her in Photoshop for the idea, just so she could see what it would look like. We talked about if we do this again, if people are enjoying this, if we do it again, I may do some edits as well so that I can share some of the ideas, because I know sometimes it's hard to, like, I don't know what he's talking about. But I think that the two flowers out of this series that she took, the two flowers, and we'll talk about those here in a second, that I like. This was one of them, and I think it stands well on its own because of the texture. The texture looks like, you know, the grass is right. I mean, it feels like a summer day and takes me out of the current time that we're in, and, you know, kind of makes me relax a little bit. I kind of looked at it too, Janice, of maybe try this with it if you want to. I see you're turning it. If you flatten the composition of the flower out, but then also change it to a more panoramic style of crop. Oh, yeah. Okay. So, because it's a pretty epic flower. I mean,
yes, it's beautiful, right? And I love her texture too.
Could you imagine this? Gorgeous. Could you imagine this? Go squeeze a little bit tighter on that. And then put the flower more towards the lower thirds. I love how we're like trying to third person.
Like this? Is that what you're saying?
Move the flower petals to the lower thirds bar. So you're going to slide that whole bar. Yeah, right there. Yeah. Okay, so I'm just thinking, if you saw this like in like a 6 foot wide, you know.
Isn't that gorgeous?
Big print.
See, huge print. A huge, beautiful print.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I could totally see that.
Yep.
Wow. I love this because you would just be like in your face right here.
That'd be in my living room, right over my fireplace. Beautiful. Yeah, that's awesome.
I love that. I don't know, Kim, if you're liking what we've gone. I don't know if she's still here.
It's just ideas.
Oh, there she is here. She is here. She's all
I saw that.
We're like having fun.
She's hiding under her pillow right now.
Oh
it's
my gosh, but look at this. I just love this.
Yep. It's beautiful.
Yeah, good job. So I love her textures. And I know, Kim, you're probably like, but I did all this texture work. It's okay. But I just, you know what?
That flower's powerful.
It is, man. It is. The flower is just really and the texture is still gorgeous with it, but you're right. The flower is just like rocking it. Okay, so let's go with this one. And let me just tab this out so we can all.
This is my favorite of the three.
Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. Okay, so, I forgot to find out which one this one was. Hold on one second. I just want to make sure. Look into my soul. Heck yeah, man. I can totally see that. Okay, look into my soul. In this image, I feel that the flower is finally ready to reveal itself. The focus is the center of the image, and you can look deeply into the center of the flower and see its true beauty. Heck yeah. Oh my gosh. I just love this one. You know, I think that okay, so the only thing that I probably would do a little bit different, but this is just personal. This is just personal. See how she has this beautiful color over here? My thing I probably would do is add some of that just a little bit over here. Just a little bit, Kim. You know why? Because I feel like this is so rocking it with it's just gorgeous and beautiful and sharp in the middle and everything. And the only reason why I would think to just add a little bit of that, because I know you could do it, is because it would keep me into that middle. So this is pretty, but I think if you just added just a teeny little bit of that color, it'll still keep me within the frame. It wouldn't leave the frame. And then boom, we have, your eye would go right back to this beautiful area right in here. That's the only thing that I would have to say about this. And then I'm going to have some homework for afterwards, but we'll just.
My only idea was maybe because I kind of got spoiled with the softy photos earlier, is that this maybe needs to be a little bit softer. So maybe taking the clarity slider in Lightroom and moving it the opposite way that we normally move it, which is to the right, moving it to the left and making it a little softer. Yeah, not a whole lot, but just a little bit of like that Orton effect.
Right, let's do this. Oh,
yeah,
okay,
the Velvia 56 is an absolutely fabulous, and I am sponsored by Lens Baby. I'm just going to tell you right up front. And I saw what their lenses could do. I'm like, give me those. I want those. I want a lot of those.
Yeah, that's
they are awesome for flowers. They're awesome for everything. I mean, I like taking normal landscape photos with them because they just make everything look dreamy.
So pretty. Now, wait, no, see, I like it dreamy, but let me see. So if I was to do, isn't there a reverse thing on here? So like, say if I don't use Lightroom a lot to process. So say if I was to get rid of the clarity here, and can I just reverse it?
Yep.
To get it to the other spot. How do I do that?
If you're using the brush.
Yes.
So there's.
I want to switch it.
Well,
erase.
No,
I don't want to do that. Hold on one second. What I'm trying to do is keep this sharp and then have all of the other thing.
Okay.
The other side.
You're going to want to use not the brush tool. Use the one to the left of the brush tool.
This guy.
Yep.
Oh, okay. And
so
now
And now basically you can control what's outside and inside that ring. So you can invert it. So you have an invert switch down there.
Oh, okay. Yep. There we go.
And then you can control where that softness is. So you can keep that middle nice and sharp and soften the outside. That was what I saw with the image, is just a little softer on the outskirts, so that we really focus on her main subject. What you guys always do is you always tell us what your subject is, because you focus on that. If that's the star of your show, make sure that in your post-processing that you're always working towards that goal to really make the star shine. You don't want to like fancy up other parts of the image that may draw your eye away. So contrast will do
Right.
that. You know, contrast colors will do that, certain colors. So always keep that in mind when you're doing it. I think that's what you were mentioning when you were talking about moving a color, is so it balanced it a little bit more.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
I
this
think
was
that's
my favorite
the story.
out of the three.
Yeah, this is beautiful.
Like the
Okay, so
texture
now we're
and, yep.
yeah, the texture and everything. Okay, so let's go on to this one. And so this one, let's see, that's Bashful Glimpse. Is that the Bashful one? It must be, because I didn't do the, no, is it? Let me just make sure that I'm doing it right. Slightly whimsical. Slightly whimsical. So here we go. Let me tab this out so everybody can see it. All right, whoops. Sorry. So the slightly whimsical, she says, here I saw this single flower that was mostly normal. And she puts normal in parentheses and followed all of the rules of a flower. Petals, then she puts in here, petals are in line and orderly. The center is clean and uniform. However, there is just this one petal that is going, and she says, against the flow. This is the part of the flower I wanted to focus on in this image. Yeah, I like that, what she's saying here, because I did notice that your eyes definitely, I think that you definitely got us, and what you wanted us to see is definitely what you want here. So I don't know, I love what she's done here. I like this. I think that with this one, I think that I want her to play. This is her homework from me. I don't know what you want to give her, but for me, I want her to play more with, I like her textures, but I think with this texture, I want her to play with textures a little bit more. You know, I want her to dive in and really get more into the texture thing. And she's got a thing there. And I feel like, I think she could be even stronger with the textures. I mean, Kim, I don't know if you totally want to go that way, but I would love to see more texture work that she's doing regardless.
Yeah. So when it comes to textures and processing, always go way overboard and see what it looks like, because you never know. I mean, if you think of Andy Warhol, he never would have known that those would be his most prized images if he didn't go that direction and at least see what he enjoyed. So if we hold back, we never really, you know, the saying is we can't win if we don't play. So we have to play. And that's the whole idea. This is playing with your images and trying different stuff. And it's obviously you like the textured look. So I agree with Janice. I would say, you know, roll with it, try some more brutal approach to it, or maybe mixing textures a little bit, that sort of thing. With this image, Janice, the only really thing I had to say about it was I just want to be closer to that curly leaf part. Like, I don't really care about the rest of that flower. I really don't.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
saying?
The minute you called that photo up, you started to get in closer to that part. You're like, I want to see that, right?
I did. Look at this. See?
Now, my thought for Kim is that if you do this, now try putting your textures on this nice close-up view and see if you can work your magic without the ability to just put it on the green on the outside. I mean, look at that. I mean, there's your star of the show. I mean, it's right there. And you might be able to put some textures on the outside, kind of surrounding this, just basically saying, look right at that part. You're not going to be able to deny that part, because that's what we want to look at.
Isn't that pretty?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, Baz, you are able to view and listen to comments. We'll scroll along with the video after we're done.
Yes, we will definitely do that. It's already an hour. See, me and AD are having such a blast. And and Kim says too that she really loves what we're doing here. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
I mean, I just, this is something that me and AD haven't done in a while. So it's been so much fun, AD, to do this. I knew we would have such a great time.
Absolutely. Yep. It's been good to get back in the saddle a little bit and And
Yes.
I appreciate everybody's submissions, and hopefully you guys will send some more stuff. I don't have too many people in my camp that do macro stuff, so I probably won't be able to contribute like a lot of folks to send in any images. But the more you guys can send in, the more we can open up these wonderful treasure chests and maybe find some real gems in there for you guys to work on.
Yeah, if you guys could get your friends to come in and do this, because AD and I do need an hour. This was perfect,
Yep.
So we do need these images. We've got an hour. This is all we're doing. It's a fun time for us. It's a fun time for you guys to get some homework. So if you could do us a favor, because you guys are all people that are awesome and here all the time. Maybe you can get some other people that try to say, hey, it's okay. We're not going to chew you up. Really, it's okay.
Hey, this is an escape. This is your hour to get away from the rest of the world right now. So
yeah, seriously. So they like it, and I think AD that you should be doing this more than every other month. I don't know. We'll have to talk about him. He's a busy man, so we'll see. And then definitely we're pretty much done. We have a show in 2 weeks, and we're going to do Thomas Shahan, take 2. Cross fingers, toes, whatever you have, because we're having Thomas here in 2 weeks. So, and it is at 5 p.m. We've got it situated. Sorry, Baz, but we will maybe in the future. But I do have to think about like who's gonna be on the show and all that stuff. But it is definitely. Thank you so much, Kim, for coming. All of you, 2 Kims. We've got 2 Kims today, so it's really awesome to see you guys. And I'm so happy you guys chatted up, and we will look at the chat afterwards in case we missed all of your questions or anything. So AD, have anything else to say before we say goodbye? Sayonara?
No, this was a absolute wonderful pleasure, and thank you so much for allowing me to actually get in here and do some of this. This was fun.
Yeah, it was great.
In case you guys are wondering, every week when we do this, I'm actually yelling this stuff in Janice's ear, and she's doing her best to ignore everything. So I finally got through to her and said, you got to let me on the show, so I got to stop yelling at her in her ear. You guys can't hear it, but
He's
I'm
always
just kidding.
helping me with yeah, no, but you do help me when it comes to like when I have the wrong wordage or whatever when I'm saying something.
I help you with the flower names. That's what I do.
Yeah.
So.
All right, you guys. Well, we're going to let you go. Thank you so much. And again, share it with your friends. You like the show, give it a thumbs up. And if you're new, subscribe to the channel because we are here. The show is every other Thursday. So join us. I have stuff coming up every Thursday, but the show is only every other Thursday. All right, you guys, stay safe. And we will see you in 2 weeks. Cheers.
Bye.